Train the muscles, not the joints. So welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about changing up your rep ranges in your routine and how you might want to go about it. Okay, so Steven Sims, one of my Patreon supporters, asked me a question. He said he's doing about 8 reps most of the time in his training, and he's doing 3 workouts a week. So he's doing upper body one day, lower body the next day, upper body, and then switching it up the next week. Basically, he's getting 3 workouts in a week, and he's just doing upper body, lower body, right? So the first thing he said is that he basically makes a total amount of reps in his workout a measurement of volume. Now, if you guys have watched my video on volume, I talked about this specifically, that I don't measure volume in reps. I measure volume in the amount of sets that I take close to failure in my workout, because the amount of sets I find is a better indicator of overall fatigue of the system than just reps themselves, because reps can be at any type of weight. But the thing is, if you go to failure and you're doing 20 reps to get to failure with one weight that's lighter, and then you're going to 5 reps to get to failure with a heavier weight, there is a difference in intensity, but at the same time, I think it's more accurate in measurement of overall body stimulus. I think it's an overall better measurement of overall body stress, saying how many sets do you take to failure. So basically he's saying he's doing 6 to 8 reps, but the bottom line is that he will sometimes drop down to 4 when he's trying to increase weight by 10 pounds or something like that. So he's basically trying to increase his strength. So here's the thing. I find that each type of rep range will hit different muscle fibers, and it will also load your nervous system differently as well. So a lot of times people will go down in strength sometimes when they lift lighter weight for a period of time, but it's not because they actually lose strength. It's because they lose their groove, which means the coordination. How are the muscles supposed to fire, and at what time are they supposed to fire in order to get that heavier load up? It doesn't mean the actual contractile ability of the muscle tissue itself is less. It just means that the coordination around it is sometimes less because you're not used to handling that weight. As you all know, if you do a heavy squat or a light squat, the groove changes because there's a lot of counterbalancing that goes on in the movement that you become dumb in some way, right? So if you lift lighter weight and then you go to heavy, it's a bit of a shock because you're not really sure of how to fire things at what time in order to stay standing up or in order to keep that bench press from falling sideways or whatever, right? So this is one thing to consider. The second thing is that each rep range will hit different muscle fibers. So there is an ideal amount of time to hit a muscle fiber depending on what type it is. Fast twitch fibers don't need to be hit as much or as often because they recover at a slower rate. So say you train super heavy in a body part once a week or twice a week or 3 times a week, you'll notice that there's an ideal amount of time. And in my opinion, you only need to go heavy about once a week, like super heavy, like 6 reps, 8 reps, something like that, depending on your injury history and your genetics, etc., etc. You know, you've been through this routine with me before because it can be different for each person. But in the end, I believe, and I have seen, that people only need to really go heavy for a body part once a week. But their other workouts can be with other rep ranges, like 15 reps, 20 reps, 10 reps. Therefore, you are hitting the endurance fibers more often than the fast twitch. Now, why is this? The endurance fibers recover at a faster rate and they don't break down as easily. So it is necessary to train them more often than, say, the fast twitch fibers. So that's why a person that's fast twitch fiber dominant will have to train much less than, say, somebody that's endurance fiber dominant. So this is why you have to kind of find that sweet spot of frequency for yourself. It's not always the same for everyone. So I always get these people asking me questions, but they're like saying, okay, what's the exact answer? What's the exact answer? Well, the exact answer for you might be slightly different than somebody else. That's always the point, okay? So the fact is that you will find that by doing higher reps, you'll be able to train more often, and you'll also be able to get some muscular development in that endurance fiber in your muscle, but you'll also be getting another effect that is positive, and that is increased blood flow to the area. So you'll be pumping extra blood to the area to help with the fast twitch fiber recovery from their workouts, because like I said, fast twitch fibers break down much more, they're more susceptible to injury, but they do contribute to overall strength and explosiveness at a much more exponential rate than, say, endurance fibers. So the fact is that you want to use this synergism, right? It's kind of like two pumps. It's like two pistons in a car, right? It's like fast twitch fiber, slow twitch fiber, fast twitch. But in the end, I basically would rather you having slow twitch about 3/4 of the time. So 10 reps to 30 reps to 40 reps. I'd rather you be doing those workouts at about 70% of the time, and then 30% of the time doing the 6 to 8 rep workouts or 5 to 7 rep workouts, or, you know, those types of things, depending on what is good for your body and what your body feels fine working with, right? So this is a way that you can change this up. Now, of course, I have the templates in my website. I have them under the 2-day split, the A, B, C, and D programs. I highly recommend you try my programs and see how these templates work for you. But at the same time, if you're just going to experiment on your own, these are the general rules around changing up the reps and how do you work high reps and low reps together, okay? So these are some general guidelines. I hope this helps. Steven, I hope this helps you out. And thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for being a patron, Steven. And hopefully you guys can become a patron too if you want. Thanks a lot to the patron supporters that are here that allow me to make this content for you. And take care for now. And yeah, if you need to get hold of me, just go to my website. Do you know what my website is? Huh? What is it? I'll just put it down here. All right.